Hi everyone, Dawn here again, and in this series of videos I'm covering the key things that you can do to improve the accuracy of your dowsing. In the first video I covered the mechanics of dowsing, and in the second how to program and calibrate your dowsing tool. The last video was an important one, and that was all about cultivating the dowsing state of mind, which is pretty key in improving the accuracy of your dowsing. And in this final video it's all about the art of the question. Now, the old adage, garbage in, garbage out, is true for the practice of dowsing. A good dowsing outcome requires the right input in the form of the question. So asking clear and specific questions is critical in the process. And it's not just one question. You'll probably have to ask a series of questions, and we usually call that a question string, to get all of the information that you want. Now, for the most part, our questions are limited to yes or no answers. We can, of course, ask our dowsing device to show me, which is a technique we would use for tracking and finding something out. We can use, dowsing charts. But in this video, I am going to concentrate on information dowsing, which really needs a yes or a no answer. Now, a good dowsing question isn't ambiguous. It's clear and precise. Now, this takes a little planning before you start your dowsing. So I'd highly recommend you write down your questions. Remember, there won't be just one question, but a series, and I would craft as many as you can think of in writing before you start. Not only is it good to aid memory, you can see the fatal flaws in your question when you see it written down. It also helps you to stay focused during the dowsing session. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't have to think of a question in the moment. It is unlikely that you can anticipate all the possible questions that you need, but it is a really good approach to use. Now, words matter with our dowsing questions. There really is no room for ambiguity. When dowsing, many questions can be construed in different ways, and the pendulum will answer all questions literally. Now, here's an example. Does my body need vitamin C? This is an example of a poorly worded question. Of course we need vitamin C. Your pendulum or rod is going to say yes. Our bodies need vitamin C to function. A better question would be, would taking a vitamin C supplement be beneficial to my health right now? And then if yes, you could go on to ask, which brand of vitamin C is best of me? In what dosage? How many times a day should I take this without food, etc.? That's an example of a question string. Another example is, should I drink this second glass of wine? Sounds a bit wishy-washy to me. What criteria is your pendulum going to use to determine if you should or not? What exactly are you asking? Getting clear about what you are trying to determine is key to asking the right question. In this example, it might be that you're wanting to know if having a second glass of wine will be harmful to your health or not. Or it could be related to having enough time to drink the glass and attend an appointment. The information that you're seeking is entirely related to the context of the question. Let's try this. Would the second glass of wine be harmful to my health? A little clearer, but the would is still ambiguous. Perhaps substitute this for will. This moves the question from a future state to the present moment in time. Now, what about a question about your finances? Will I be rich? This lacks specificity. Rich is a subjective measure. Rich in what? How rich? If you want to know if you'll acquire financial wealth, be specific about that and the measure that you place on being wealthy. Will I achieve an income of, insert figure of your choosing, by the end of this current year, is a clearer question. Now, you'll find clear and precise questions are not short. They're usually fairly long but very specific, so there's no room for misinterpretation. Often our unconscious and superconscious mind has a different interpretation of a word than your conscious mind does, so it's best to be very, very clear. The trick with the questions is to critically evaluate them to see if they're ambiguous or not. Read them a couple of times and change them if you need to. Now, if you feel that they're not getting to the core of the information that you need, When you've doused with them, so your questions still remain a bit unclear, rewrite them until they clearly state the information request. Now, in the second video I did on programming and calibrating your device, I did promise to share with you why I don't establish a don't know or a prefer not to say response. So here it is. Now, in dowsing, we need to establish a few ground rules to our dowsing first. And you may have heard the 3 dowsing questions: may I, can I, and should I. Lots of dowsers use these questions, as do I, but I use them with some tweaking to the language. So can I? Well, this question is really about whether or not we're in the correct head and heart space to dowse. Can I physically, emotionally, and mentally dowse? Now, this question can trip us up if we're not clear about what we're asking. Of course you can dowse, but are you in a fit state to accurately dowse in this moment? So a more precise way to find this out is to shift the question a little. Consider asking, am I physically, emotionally, and mentally able to dowse accurately in this moment? Now, the question may I is all about permission, and I think this, along with the should I, gets to the nub of ethics. You see, dowsing has the potential to find out anything you want, but in the doing of this, we can ride roughshod over the wants and needs of others. Now, if the dowsing is about you, I don't see the need to ask this. But if you're dowsing on behalf of somebody else, or trying to unravel the mysteries of the landscape, I do think that it's right and proper to ask permission. In my opinion, we're asking our higher self, or in the example of earth energy dowsing, we're asking spirit of place, which is the consciousness of the land. So the question that I ask is, may I dowse now? To find out, insert what you're hoping to achieve. Now, the final question is, should I? At the very heart of this question is ethics. What it really means to me is this something that I have the right to be asking about? Again, if we're dowsing solely for ourselves, it's a moot point. You have the right to. But if you're dowsing for anybody else, or again for earth energy, I think it's an essential question that keeps our ego in check. Just because we're able to find out the information doesn't mean it's the right thing to do, no matter how much we want to know. For me, it feels a bit like crossing a line and imposing our will onto something. Now, if we get used to asking these questions before our dowsing session, we don't need a maybe or prefer not to say swing. A simple yes or no will suffice. So I hope this helps you to get into the habit of creating your questions in a way that they're clear and precise. Now, it might seem like a waste of time when all you want to do is grab your pendulum or rattle off some questions, but it's time well spent, as it's going to help you achieve far more accuracy in your dowsing and in turn help you in life. Ta-ta for now.